welcome to Dave Plouffe Field in Rapid City, South Dakota for game number 4 of our 4-day showcase of the 5th annual Veterans Classic here from Rapid City. My name is Mike Fell, and you're watching the Hard Hats television production of the Westco Zephyrs from the great community of Scottsbluff, Nebraska, taking on a outstanding Final Four team from the American Legion World Series a year ago, the 2-0 and undefeated here in the Veterans Classic, Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers. The Sixers are 27-3 on the year. They started impressively 2-0 with a pair of shutout wins, and currently they sit atop the standings trying to go 4-0 and outpace the Post 22 Hard Hats in the Fitzgerald Stadium team pool standings. Looking at the picture for the Post 6 Sixers, they need to win and they need to keep run scoring to a minimum. In talking to one of the sportscasters that covers the Post 6 Sixers and Coach Todd Lane's crew, he told me that Ty Lane, thank you, Ty Lane's crew, he shared with me that the Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers this year have a lot of pitching depth, that they go 8 or 9 pitchers deep, and that is extremely important when you're in a tournament like the Veterans Classic. Yesterday morning in a game we had for you, of course we've had all the games for you here at Fitzgerald Stadium for the Veterans Classic. Yesterday it was an 8-0 6-inning victory for the Post 6 Sixers over Huron Post 7, and in that game, quite candidly, it was a 7:30 first pitch. It seemed like it took about an hour before the Sixers really got a groove going. But once they had it going, they scored 4 runs with the help of a couple of defensive miscues by the opposition. They had 4 runs in the 4th inning, piled on another couple of runs in the 2 subsequent innings, and pulled out the victory. And the Post 6 Sixers, they will be the visiting team in this matchup for Westco. This is a very quality program, and out of Scottsbluff and Westco, they are 1-2 here in this tournament. If they could get a win over Cheyenne Post 6, that would be a big booster for their overall positioning, and it would also move them to 2-2 and may very well give Westco a chance to play here tomorrow. But we're not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure about all of the crossover mechanisms when it comes to which games are here at Fitzgerald Stadium tomorrow and which games are being played at Pete Lean Memorial Field.
I was about to ask him when he was on the broadcast earlier, and then he had somebody come in and he had to go. But it was, yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and look at the starting lineups first for the visiting team in this game. Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers coming in with a mark of 27-3 and 2-0 in pool play. It'll be Mason Tafoya leading off, playing short. Hitting second, center fielder Nolan Horton. Batting third, right fielder Corey Williams. In the cleanup position, it's yesterday's winning pitcher, first baseman Hayden Swain. Hitting fifth, designated hitter Jackson Garrett. Batting sixth, an outstanding defensive catcher, Caden Westby. Batting seventh, a very gritty second baseman, Cade Coates. Hitting eighth in the lineup this afternoon in game 1 of a back-to-back doubleheader for Cheyenne Post 6 today and tonight. It's Anthony Pacheco and it's Colin Cresilius rounding out the batting order and playing the hot corner at third base. So for the Sixers, it's Tafoya, Horton, Williams, Swain, Garrett, Westby, Coates, Pacheco, and Cresilius. And on the mound, it's Ethan Reisdorfer. Reisdorfer, a very good defensive third baseman. he is going to be drawing the start on the mound for the Sixers. For Westco, from Scottsbluff, Nebraska, it's designated hitter Oscar Felix leading off, then hitting second baseman Michael Viguera, batting third, and shortstop Moy Padero, batting fourth, in hitting cleanup, and center fielder Gerald Mendez. Hitting fifth for Wesco, it's Carter Reisig. Batting sixth, it's left fielder Trevon Jackson. Batting seventh, it's first baseman Adam Vargas. Hitting eighth for Wesco Scottsbluff Zephyrs, it's Thatcher, I believe it's Standler, the right fielder. And hitting ninth, it's Dawson Barrett, the catcher. And the first pitch coming from Blake Grasmick is low for a ball. Again for Wesco, it's Felix Vilguera Pandero, Mendez Reisig Jackson, Vargas, I believe it's Thalmer, and
It's the Mala.
Thamaler. And
La, not an R.
Got it. Lala. And Dawson Barrett. So
Yeah.
here we go. We are underway. That pitch driven hard and right at the center fielder for the first out of the game. Tafoya is retired on a fly ball to center field. This is definitely a pitcher's ballpark. The dimensions down the left field line, 325. Down the right field line, 330. And to the deeper part of the power alley here, it's 393.
With a very tall fence.
With a very tall fence. It is hard to hit the ball out of this park, that's for sure. We had a hailstorm come through about an hour and a half ago. We just had the third game wrap up, and very quickly they're trying to move the games along, as this is game 4 of 6 games scheduled to complete Fitzgerald Stadium pool play. As we mentioned, currently the post 22 Hard Hats currently lead the standings at 3-0, but they've given up 7 runs in those 3 games. And for the Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers, with the tiebreaker being lowest runs allowed per inning, the Sixers are in the driver's seat, or at least have the inside track to the championship game in which they won last year over the First National Bank of Omaha North Platte team. Here comes the pitch. That's ball 4, and Nolan Horton is aboard with the walk. So for the Sixers, if they can win this game, and it's a tough game for the Sixers against Wesco from Scottsbluff, Nebraska, then you would definitely have to see if the Sixers won the next game coming up. I'm not sure who that opponent is, the next game for the Sixers.
They play against the Alliance.
The Alliance
Spartans.
Peltz construction team, and there's a stolen base by Horton. He slides in. But for the Sixers, if they win and they can keep their opponents under 7 runs combined in the doubleheader tonight, or even under 6 runs, they should be in pretty good position to advance to the championship game tomorrow. There's a grounder handled cleanly by the first baseman. Corey Williams is retired. That's a unassisted put out at third base. Good play there that time by Adam Vargas. And now there are 2 down with a man at third in the person of Nolan Horton. And here comes Hayden Swain. Swain, a right-handed batter, playing first base. He pitched a shutout in the victory yesterday over Huron Post 7. And Hayden may not have had all of his arsenal working at ideal performance levels, but he got the job done. Didn't give up a single run in that victory over a good Huron team that finished 1-3 in pool play, but as you may have recognized earlier today, was very much a part of that 4-3 game that they were unable to win against the Post 320 shooters. Here comes the 2-0 pitch into Hayden Swain, and the count now moves to 3-0. We're glad you're with us wherever you're tuning in, whether you're watching from the Platte River Valley, the Nebraska Panhandle. Maybe you're tuning in from down in southeast Wyoming, in Wyoming's capital city. We're happy to have you along with us tonight. There's a walk issued by Grasmick, and Blake Grasmick now has to deal or negotiate a situation where he has 2 outs, but runners are at the corners, and here comes Jackson Garrett, the designated hitter. Garrett, good power to all fields for the Sixers, who come out in their very neat road, kind of almost sandstone-like. I don't know if that's the exact term. A little bit of a beige tint to
I'm
their
going with cream.
uniform. Maybe a cream. That's a good one, Oliver. A little bit of a cream color there with Sixers in cursive. Here comes the pitch, and it's low to Jackson Garrett. Count now 1-1. On deck, it's Caden Westby for the post 6 Sixers. I really liked the uniforms for the Sixers yesterday. They were throwback, old-time Comiskey Park Chicago White Sox home uniforms. The uniforms the White Sox wore with the SOX across the front of the jersey, and for the Sixers, post 6, it's SIX. Here comes the 1-2 pitch now to Jackson Garrett, and that pitch is high for ball 2. Nice crowd on hand. It's really a beautiful day now. That pop-up hail-filled thunderstorm has made its way east of the Rapid City area. Hopefully that's the last we see of any pop-up storms. There's a swing and a miss, ball in the dirt. Throw down to first is in time, and that's the final out of the inning. So Jackson Garrett strikes out. Good job there of pitching by starter Blake Grasmick for Westco. And through half an inning of play, no score. Coming up for the Westco Zephyrs, it's Oscar Felix, Michael Villagara, and Moy Padero. If anyone gets on base, Gerald Mendez. Recapping the top of the first inning, there were no runs. There were no hits. There were no errors, and there were 2 men left on base. Westco trying to avoid a 1-3 pool play appearance. This is standing to be a very entertaining game, so just make yourself comfortable, relax. It's 4:20 Mountain Time, local time where fans of both of these teams reside, and we're just ready to go with a great game, and we're going to be here a long time tonight. We still have 2 games after this game.
After this, and scheduled for the start after everything's supposed to, you're supposed to warm up and everything. We were scheduled to start the second to last game at 4:30. It's 4:20 right now, and we just had the first frame of third to last game.
Some exciting news if you're a big Nebraska Cornhusker fan, as I am. Nebraska defeated the Niagara Purple Eagles 7-5 in Stillwater, Oklahoma this afternoon in the NCAA regional elimination game in the Stillwater Regional. So congratulations to the Big Ten tournament champions, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who won their 40th game of the season today and will play the loser of tonight's Oklahoma State and Florida game. Go Big Red. There's a pitch over for a strike to Oscar Felix. How about those Huskers? Gabe Swenson had a pair of dingers for the champs from Lincoln, Nebraska. There's a foul back to the screen. Count now 0-2. There were some upsets. Oliver pointed out that High Point walked it off against Vandy 10-9 in a high-scoring elimination game this morning. There's a pitch, and that ball is
Oh!
caught. A great catch made by the Sixers center, shortstop, Mason Tafoya. Tafoya had to climb the ladder and pick the right floor, so to speak, to come up with that smash to left center field.
That
And
might be the most impressive play I've
that
seen in the tourney. Hang a
that's gonna
star
get
on that thing.
we're gonna hang a star on that for sure. And now Michael Villagara is up to bat, and there's a swing and a miss. Michael really swinging through that pitch.
He's a small guy, but he's got great control of. I mean, he's got coordination for days. Made some incredible defensive plays.
Villagara fouls it up, pops it up. It's in fair territory. It's called for by the first baseman, who makes the catch. Hayden Swain recording the second out of the bottom of the first inning as Villagara pops up to the infield. That's an F3 if you're scoring along with us. And now Moy Panduro, the hitter. Panduro in a crouched position, waits for the pitch, and that pitch is hit towards short, handled smoothly, throw to first is in time. Great job by Hayden Swain to stretch and make the play, and that's a 6-3 ground out and a 1-2-3 inning beginning for Ethan Reisdorfer, and through one inning of play, no score. For the Westco Zephyrs, there were no runs, no hits, no errors, and no men left on base. Coming up in the second inning for the post-6 Sixers, who come in with a amazing 27-3 record. It's Caden Westby, Cade Coates, and Anthony Pacheco, and if anyone gets on, it's number 9 hitter Colin Crecilius. Mike Fell with you, along with Oliver Fell. Happy you're able to join us for game number 4 of our half-dozen game presentation of day 3 of the Veterans Classic. It's a great tournament. It's so great to have all of you with us. And how about all these teams traveling, in some cases, as many hours as 8 or 9 hours to be here. And we sure appreciate all you fans that have watched our broadcasts and have felt closer to this tournament because you've been able to take in all of these ball games. This is actually game number, if I'm counting correctly, and I think I am, this is game number 15 of our 21 game presentation here on Hard Hats TV for the 2024 Veterans Classic. Here comes the first pitch from Blake Grasmick, and it's high for ball 1. Caden Westby, a very impressive defensive catcher. Of course, he has a good bat as well. And there's a high pitch from Grasmick. Count now 2-0. Blake gets the sign for Westco, fires a bouncer to home plate, and right now it does not seem like Blake Grasmick is even remotely in a groove. There's a pitch and a strike. That time Westby was taking all the way. Comes the second pitch, and Westby hits it hard to left center, and it will be knocked down. And taking 2 bases on a stand-up double is Caden Westby. Westby, without any hesitation, drilled that pitch into the middle part of left center field. Give credit there to Wesco's center fielder, Gerald Mendez, for knocking that ball down and preventing the ball from going all the way to the warning track. Certainly that would have been a triple if Mendez did not make that kind of defensive play in deep center. Grasmick's first pitch is high for a ball. We've seen Blake fire a lot of pitches high so far in this inning. There's a low pitch that draws a swing and a miss from Cade Coates. Cade Coates, a very gritty player. Reminds me in some positive ways of Huron's Bubba Peterson, who we've seen a couple of times here in the Veterans Classic.
My apologies, that's number 9, Cade Coates.
Cade Coates now down in the count after that foul ball, 1-2. Here comes the pitch from Grasmick, and that ball is popped up. Is it out of play or in play? It's in play, and the catcher for Westco, Dawson Barrett, just, I think, assumed that ball was getting outside of foul territory, and it landed, in fact, on the warning track spot, and that's a play that could have been made and out that could have been recorded.
Something to note about that. Barrett caught 3 pop-up fly balls in the first game of the tournament against the Shooters.
Taking off and running is Caden Westby. Cade Coates fouls the ball out of play on top of the canopy roof here at Fitzgerald Stadium. You can hear a lot of birds in the pine trees over the berm making a lot of noise here at the Fitz, and I think the birds are enjoying the fact we had all this hail and rain. They might have been disturbed by the hail. There's a stolen base by Caden Westby. He steals third. That's the first stolen base for either team in tonight's game. Anthony Pacheco now. For Caden Coates now 2-2. There is a man at third for Cheyenne post Sixers. There's no score. There's a base hit, and it's corralled by the shortstop, but that will be an infield RBI single for Cade Coates as Caden Westby easily trots over home plate. And now it's a 1-0 lead for Cheyenne post 6. And here comes Anthony Pacheco. Anthony batting with a man at first, still nobody out. Wade Grasmick getting a challenge here from a very formidable lineup. The 2-0 in this tournament, post 6 Sixers, who are 24 games above 500 coming into tonight's action. There's a pitch and a strike. Cheyenne post 6. They gave the baseball world New York Mets outfielder Brandon Nimmo. There's a pop-up out of play.
The umpire makes sure that the catcher knows. He tells him that's out.
And, of course, Scottsbluff gave the world Garrett Nelson, one of the greatest linebackers in recent years in the Big Ten Conference for the Black Shirts of Nebraska.
Not to be confused with Fargo product Grant Nelson.
No, there's no confusion. There's a grounder to the third baseman, and that ball thrown away past first base. Racing home is Cade Coates. That'll make it 2-0, as there was a throwing error that time that allowed Anthony Pacheco to get all the way to second base. That will be an E5, the first error of the game, and still nobody out, and now it's 2-0 in favor of Cheyenne post 6. And now here comes Colin Crecilius. Perhaps most impressive about this top of the second performance with the Sixers is that all this damage is coming from the bottom of their talented order.
This team's just so deep, man.
It's a very deep team with pitching, deep team with hitting, and
Yeah.
extremely deep on the pitching side.
The fun thing about Pacheco, he's a starter and he plays the field here. He made second team All Wyoming as a Hawk. That's the junior team. He made second team All State on the junior team and still wasn't on the senior team. That's how stacked this program is.
A program that reached Shelby, North Carolina, and the American League World Series. They were the Gillette Regional Champions last season. And they were, of course, the Wyoming State Champs. They have won somewhere north of 40 Wyoming State titles. Very reminiscent of the post 22 Hard Hats in South Dakota winning around 45 titles, state titles all time. Here comes the pitch to Crecilius. It's behind the batter. Throw down to third is off the glove of the third baseman. And I believe that was strike three.
Wait,
and so racing down to first is Colin Crecilius. He is at first. That will technically be the second strikeout of the game for Blake Grasmick.
Number 13, the shortstop, Mason Tafoya.
And now there are runners at first and third, and there will be a conference, and Mason Tafoya is set to bat. Westco with the gray uniforms today with the green hats and the orange Westco W script, kind of like the Washington Nationals have the letter W spelled out. And I think we may have a pitching change momentarily here. We'll let you know if we have a pitching change. The uniform combination for Westco reminds me quite a bit of a team that used to be a regular at the College World Series in Omaha where I grew up, and that would be the Miami Hurricanes. Used to be able to see Miami come to Omaha almost every year back in the 80s. Sometimes you'd even see the Maine Black Bears make it to Omaha. Back when they had strict geographic regional assignments and did not have the format they have today with the super regionals. There's a stolen base for Colin Crecilius. So now there are two men in scoring position. It's 2-0 with nobody out here in the top of the second. Blake Grasmick able to get Mason Tafoya to offer there. Tafoya with a 1-1 pitch count, waiting for Masnick to fire from the mound. There's a chopper. It's bobbled. Throw home is too high, and that'll score a run. And everybody's safe with runners at the corners. So Anthony Pacheco able to score. That'll actually be an E5, the second error of this inning by third baseman.
Number 6, the center fielder, Nolan.
I can't tell if it's Michael Vilguera or Carter Rising. I wrote 2 second basemen down.
Whoops. It's not Vilguera. So.
Okay, so we're going to go with Rising.
Yeah.
So Tafoya reaches on a fielder's choice.
No, that looks like Mendez over there. Looks like Yarl Mendez, if I were to guess, number 17.
All right, so Mendez. He is actually the center fielder.
No, he's playing left.
13.
He's playing third.
Okay.
Oh, whoever 17 is, they're playing third.
Number 17 is Trayvon Jackson.
So I guess he's over there, and they switch things around a little.
Jackson has committed a pair of errors in the early going here in the second inning. Here taking off there and running is Colin Crecilius. Throw down.
Turns the Aiden Roberts play.
Second is not in time.
You see that?
And that's actually Mason Tafoya who just stole second base. My apologies there. Colin Crecilius still standing at third. So now there are 2 on again in scoring position with no out. Blake Grasmick having a hard time getting any of these post six Sixers out. The Sixers under the leadership of Tai Lang, so impressive, they never get themselves out. And I've noticed a big advancement by the Sixers in terms of the quality of their defense so far this year. There's a bouncer, throw across the diamond is in time, and there is
No,
an
I'm
out
wrong.
by Trayvon Jackson.
It's Mendez.
Oh, it is Mendez, okay.
That's who I thought it was.
All
So
right, so
13, Mendez.
Mendez makes the put out 5-3 to retire Nolan Horton. But a run scores. Colin Crescilia scores from third, advancing from second to third is Mason Tafoya. And now here comes Corey Williams, who grounded out to the first baseman his first time up. It's 4-0. Cheyenne post six, putting up 4 runs in the second inning, much like they put up 4 runs in the fourth inning against Huron yesterday. There's a low pitch, and it rolls back to the catcher. Count is now 2-0 to Williams. There's a pitch. It goes to 3-0. Corey Williams. Trying to bring home Mason Tafoya from third base with 1 out. Any type of hard contact or a sac fly would get the job done. There's ball 4. And now runners again are at the corners. And here comes Hayden Swain. But before Hayden can step into the batter's box, we're going to have yet another conference as Blake Grasmick having a really hard time. Grasmick's teammates kind of giving encouragement to him. The manager for Westco from Scottsbluff out to the chat. Mike Fell with you, along with Oliver Fell. Day number 3 of our 4-day coverage, where we bring you every single game of the Veterans Classic that is played here at Fitzgerald Stadium. Looks like we have some college baseball scores to tell you about. Do you want to do the honors, Oliver?
Breaking news. The University of Arizona Wildcats, winners of the Pac-12, on the verge of elimination. 0-2. They have a chance of going 0-2 in their own regional. Dallas Baptist up 7-0 in the bottom of the 9th in the elimination game.
Thank you for that update. Here comes the pitch. There's a bouncer. Gets away from home plate. Here comes the runner, and he slides and dives across home plate. Great heads-up piece of base running by the very speedy and intelligent Mason Tafoya. That makes it 5-0. Corey Williams advances to second on the play, and now Hayden Swaim, after that wild pitch run being scored by Mason Tafoya, is ahead in the count 1-0 with Corey Williams in scoring position at second base. This has really been Cheyenne's inning. We're in the top of the second inning. Cheyenne post 6-5. Westco from Scottsbluff, nothing. There's a swing and a miss. And the count moves to 2-1.
Brought Swain to his knees there. Oh, bullpen. Yeah,
And now we have some activity stirring in the Westco Zephyrs bullpen. There's a pitch outside. Yeah, last year, on the other side of the parking lot at McKeague Field, Scottsbluff's Babe Ruth team won a regional title here, and it was a very impressive performance for the future of Westco baseball, I thought. There's a pitch. It counts. For a strike. Here comes comes the pitch to Swain. It's a bouncer to second, bobbled, throw to first in time. And now that's 2 down for the Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers. That's a 4-3 putout to retire Swain. On the play, Corey Williams advances from second to third base. And here comes Jackson Garrett. So Cheyenne Post 6 has sent every one of their batters to the plate here in the top of inning number 2. Jackson Garrett struck out to end the first inning. Let's see what happens next. It was a pitch high for ball 1. Here comes the 1-0 pitch to Garrett from Blake Grasmick, and the ball is fouled away for a strike. We're happy you're all with us this afternoon. A lot of great fans enjoying all these baseball games, and this is much fun for us, Oliver and I, to bring it to all of you. Here comes a pitch. That's a swing and a miss by Garrett. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Jackson Garrett. And there's a bouncer to home plate. The count now squares at 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Runner at third base. Cheyenne Post 6 has scored 5 runs here in the second inning. We're just at the top of the second. You're also about an hour plus behind schedule with that hail delay. And there's swing and a miss, strike 3. So Blake Grasmick gives up 5 runs to the Post 6 Sixers, but he does keep his shutout streak intact. Let's tabulate the top half of the second inning, give you a recap. There were 5 runs scored. They were not all earned. And in the top of the second inning, there was a total of 2 hits. There were see here, trying to see how many errors there were. There were 2 errors, and there was 1 man left on base. Through an inning and a half of play here in Rapid City, it is Cheyenne Post 6 5 and Westco nothing. This is Hard Hats TV.
Game not quite over yet for Arizona. They are tight down to their final strike, still down 7 runs. Dallas Baptist about to put them away. Mo Valley team there.
Forgot that Dallas Baptist is Missouri Valley for baseball.
Sure.
Evansville and Indiana State from the Hoosier State from the Missouri Valley also
3-bid Missouri
reached
Valley.
the NCAA tournament this year. So here we go. Now we're in the bottom of the second inning. The home team in this game, Westco, up to bat. Gerald Menendez is the hitter for Westco. Here comes the pitch. And that's a swing and a miss, strike 3. And Gerald Mendez goes down on 3 pitches. That's the first strikeout of the game for the Sixers starter Ethan Reisdorfer. Now batting, it's Carter Reisig. Reisig sees a strike over home plate. in case you missed it, you're a big Westco fan. How about those Huskers? Nebraska wins 7-5 over Niagara in the elimination game of the Stillwater Regional. Yesterday, of course, Nebraska losing 5-2 to the Florida Gators. They really bounced back. Bounced back today, even though they did trail a few times against Niagara. There's a bouncer to second, throw to first in time, and Carter Rising is retired on a ground out. Now Trayvon Jackson.
That will be left fielder, number 17, Trayvon Jackson.
Let's see what happens next. And there's a swing and a miss as Jackson was looking for it all right there. Beautiful night for baseball. Come on down if you're in the neighborhood. There's a flare to left field, and it's caught for the final out of inning number 2. Making the grab in left field for Cheyenne Post 6 is left fielder Anthony Pacheco. Let's go ahead and give you a recap. On the bottom of the second, there were no runs, no errors, no hits, and there were no men left on base. We head to the top of the third inning. You're watching Hard Hats TV.
It's official. Arizona is out. The first host team to be removed, going 0-2.
And what a huge win for Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon, who made it to the NCAA tournament in basketball this year. I think they almost won a first round tournament game.
They won it.
Oh, they did win.
Yeah, they won their first round tournament game against St. Mary's as a 12 seed, and then played a ugly, like 200 field goal attempt game against Alabama, where they narrowly lost.
Thanks for refreshing my memory on that.
I was on the plane.
It's been a breakthrough year for Grand Canyon. Oliver, when I came to visit you in Phoenix back in the fall, we saw Grand Canyon's women's hockey team taking on the Arizona State Sun Devils lady hockey team. That was fun.
It does make me feel better knowing that Arizona does not get any of the cool things. ASU narrowly, well, not narrowly, but by about a game or two, missing out of the field final year of the Pac-12.
We now begin with the top of the third inning. Coming up to bat for Cheyenne Post 6.
Oh, it hit
It
it.
will be Caden Westby.
That's the second time I've seen it actually hit the White Tower. It hit the
There we
little
go.
bars.
We had the ball hit the iconic light tower down the first base line beyond the Westco dugout. There's a pitch, and it was just off the plate. You have a new pitcher out there for Scottsbluff.
Long
Let's see
hair.
if we can identify that pitcher for you momentarily.
I think it's number 9.
See if we can catch the number and decipher who it is. There's a bouncer way before the ball went to
CN16.
home plate. We had
I
a
can tell you. Yeah,
really
16. Let me
we
find
had
it for you.
what you would call a freak accident injury delay. It's Ryan Hinman.
Nope, Sam Bolin.
Oh, Sam Bolin.
The center fielder normally.
Now the pitcher for Westco, Sam Bolin.
He did a pretty good job at the plate. Batted about 400 in this tourney. Don't know about his pitching.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Caden Westby, and Westby able to reach on base.
That one right off the elbow guard. He literally had time to use it and block the ball with the elbow guard.
It's very Craig Biggio-like. Long-time second baseman for the Houston Astros.
Of course.
Now here comes Cade Coates. Cade was able to walk and score his first time up. Here comes the pitch.
Oh,
And that
might be a little
pitch is
generous.
off the plate for a strike. And there's a flare down the right field line out of play.
Are you seeing the discus windup where he has that curled arm all the way back? Like he brings it all the way back and then he goes forward.
Oh no, I did not catch that.
He's doing that. He's pulling it all the way. He's pushing his arm all the way back
Okay.
and then swinging it around for the strike.
Now that you say that, I do recognize that pitching delivery. There's a stolen base recorded by Caden Westby. That's the second time in consecutive innings that Caden Westby has not only reached base, but been able to record a stolen base to move in the scoring position for Westco. There's a pitch that makes it 2-2.
I'd imagine that throwing motion kind of similar to throwing a basketball shot where you can't see the ball and you're kind of throwing it over your head. Like it works for some people, but less hand-eye because you can't really see where your ball is going.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Cade Coates, and that is going to be called a ball, and the count now moves to full capacity. 3 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out for Cheyenne Post 6. They have Caden Westby with a marginal lead off of second base. Here comes the pitch to Coates, and Coates puts the ball in play. It's a roller to the shortstop, throw to first in time, and advancing the runner is Cade Coates.
That's Felix back in. Or no, he's still a short. Sorry, he started the game last time. I thought he was pitching and coming back out.
And here comes Anthony Pacheco. Here comes the pitch, and that's off the plate for a ball. Mike Fell with you, along with Oliver Fell, and this is game 4 of our Veterans Classic. The Sixers trying to tie the Post 22 Hard Hats at 3-0 in the Fitzgerald team round robin tournament. Comes the 1-1 pitch to Anthony Pacheco, and that ball is hit hard in the right field, and it gets past the right fielder. 1 run will score. Digging for third is Pacheco, and he will reach safely, and Anthony Pacheco comes through with an RBI double, and that will be an error charged to the right fielder for Westco, Thatcher Thamala, and that makes it 6-0 as Westby scores. Pacheco is at third base, and Caden Crecilius is coming up right here, right now. Batter now, the number 9 hitter, Colin Crecilius. And there's a pitch to the outside. The count quickly moves to 2-0. Our score is 6-0 in favor of Cheyenne.
Oh my God!
And there's a foul ball towards the dugout.
He nearly hit Carter. Poor guy.
Now here comes the 2-0 pitch to Crecilius. And there's the pitch outside. Count is now 3-1 to Crecilius. And there's a bouncer, and that's ball 4. So there are again runners at the corners. Unofficially, that's 5 times already today Cheyenne has had runners at first and third at one point or another.
I'm seeing some of the hard hats, old timers coming in to the stadium right now, and I don't have the heart to tell them there's still a game and a half until the hard hats play.
Well, it's such a beautiful night. I think they're
They'll
just
enjoy it.
happy to be here, and they get to see some great teams, such as Cheyenne and Westco
Cheyenne and Alliance.
and Alliance, which will be on the field in the game
Yeah, they get
coming up
baseball.
next. They
That's
get
delivered.
baseball, and it's a beautiful night. Where else would you rather be? Here we go. Count is 1-0 now to Mason Tafoya. Crecilius is at first base. Pacheco is at second base. In this 6-0 ball game, the mercy rule, if you're starting to get mildly curious, is 4.5 innings, and it has to be 8 runs or more
You'd have
after
to
4.5. So basically,
you have to finish the other team's side.
right.
They get a chance to
Yes,
respond.
that's a great point. We saw that in the last game. So Cheyenne post 6, they would have to go through inning number 5 to trigger the mercy rule. And there's a base on ball, a walk issued. Mason Tafoya.
Bolin.
And now here comes Bolin.
Here comes out the manager.
And we'll bring up the center fielder, number 6, Nolan Horton.
Nolan Horton, the hitter. Got a
Able
conference.
to overhear that. He was holding the elbow guards for people, and he says, "This thing is so sticky," as he's picking it up. I think
Oh.
somebody's sweaty on the team.
Okay. On the mound is Sam Bolin. Sam in relief of starter Blake Grasmick, having his work cut out for him now with the bases loaded. Pacheco is at third base. Crecilius is at second. Mason Tafoya is at first. And here comes Nolan Horton with a chance to break this game open big time here in the visiting half of inning number 3. Here comes the pitch from Bolin. That ball struck high and deep, but playable.
Oh,
And it's dropped by the center fielder for Westco, and everybody advances, and a run scores. So coming home on an error on the center fielder is Anthony Pacheco. Colin Crecilius able to reach third base. Mason Tafoya advances to second, and Nolan Horton is now at first. Here comes Corey Williams for the post 6 Sixers. And there is a bouncer to the plate for ball 1. Cheyenne post 6 trying to tie the Rapid City post 22 Hard Hats atop the 4-game Fitzgerald player pool standings. Tiebreaker, incidentally, between these two teams will be which team has between the Hard Hats and the Sixers. If the Sixers tie the Hard Hats, and it's a 2-team tie, since they don't play one another, the tiebreaker is going to be runs per inning allowed. And there's another walk issued by Sam Bolin, and Cohen Crecilius jogs home to make it 8-0.
oh, here's the
And
manager.
Mason Tafoya advances to third. Nolan Horton moves on to second. Corey Williams is at first, and now we have yet another conference on the mound, and Sam Bolin,
Oh, is that Vargas?
I believe, is going to be relieved
I
here.
think Vargas coming in.
Yep, we'll see.
Nope. Wait, yes, he's getting his glove. Okay, Aiden
Okay.
Vargas.
So
If I remember correctly from last year, Vargas, a genuinely solid pitcher.
okay, it's good to know. We'll see what Vargas can do for Westco. Mike Fell, Oliver Fell with you live from Fitzgerald Stadium. We had a hail delay. There was hail all over the infield and over the field.
Also, it's Aiden.
Okay. Oh, okay. Aiden Vargas. Thank you. So, Aiden Vargas on the mound now, replacing Sam Bolin. Let's see if we can get you some scores from the big leagues to tell you about. My San Diego Padres in action this afternoon against the Kansas City Royals, and the Pods win 7-3. San Diego clinching a victory in a 3-game series in Kansas City in interleague play. Padres now 2-0 on the road against American League teams to start the AL portion of their season. The Houston Astros strike back, take down the Minnesota Twins 5-2. In 10 innings, first place Milwaukee beats last place Chicago White Sox 4-3. The defending World Series champion Texas Rangers under 500, but today they flex a little bit down in Miami, beating the Marlins 7-0. The Red Sox beat the Tigers 6-3. Red Sox above 500 now at 30-29. The first place Cleveland Guardians beat the Washington Nationals in Cleveland on the banks of Lake Erie, and the Guardians are now 39-19, 20 games over 500. Almost as impressive as the Baltimore Orioles. They beat the Tampa Bay Rays 9-5 at Camden Yards. And the Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Toronto Blue Jays 8-1. And you're up to date. That's a look at the Major League scoreboard. Here comes Hayden Swain batting with the bases loaded in an 8-0 ball game. Swain hits a chopper, handled by the shortstop, throw to first in time for the second out in the inning, but Swain able to bring home on that ground out Mason Tafoya from third base, and now it's 9-0 in favor of the 27-3 Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers. Nolan Horton on the play advances from second to third. Corey Williams moves from first to second. And now Jackson Garrett, the big slugger, the designated hitter for Cheyenne Post 6, at the plate with runners in scoring position at second and third. Here comes the pitch from Aiden Vargas, and that almost hit Garrett. He was able to bend his way back almost like he was doing the old 1950s limbo dance right there. Count is now 2-0.
People still limbo.
Oh, they do? Okay. Well, it started in the 50s.
I'm sure it did. The high five started in the 70s.
That's right. The wave started in the 80s. There's a bouncer in the dirt, and that moves the count now to 3-0. We're happy you're with us if you're watching in the Scottsbluff area. I was praising Garrett Nelson earlier, and I really mean that. What a great Husker. There's a 3-1 count. It'd be great to meet Garrett Nelson someday. 3-1 is the count. There are 2 outs here in the top of the third inning, and that's ball 4, and the bases are loaded. And now the Sixers have batted around here in inning number 3, and for the second time in this inning, third time today already, Caden Westby will come to the plate. Westby was hit by a pitch, stole a base, and scored in the third. Westby already with a pair of runs scored in this 9-0 ball game. Here comes a pitch to Aiden Vargas, a good pitch off speed through the zone, brings a swing and a miss, and Westby suddenly down in the count 0-1 to Aiden Vargas. Here comes the pitch from Vargas. That's high for a ball. Scottsbluff has both a Runza and a Godfather's Pizza.
Whoa!
That's awesome, by the way.
I'm-
I mean, that just makes me so hungry.
You're salivating.
I would, yeah, for dinner, if I was in Scottsbluff, they also have a Chili's, but I'd just be like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, because you can't go wrong with Runza and you can't go wrong with Godfather's Pizza. There's a high pitch, and neither Runza or Godfather's Pizza is here in Rapid City, by the way.
Do we have a
Now
Chili's either? No.
Yeah,
We
there's
do?
a Chili's. Yeah.
Where?
Off the Haynes Avenue exit. There's a
Okay.
foul ball into the berm.
I haven't come across that.
It's not too far north of the interstate
Okay.
on the way to Coles.
Oh.
Count is 3-2 now.
Okay.
Caden Westby batting with the bases filled with Sixers in a 9-0 ball game. Westco, the Zephyrs, committing 4 errors already as well to make their cause more difficult.
Wow.
And there's a swing and a miss, and Westby strikes out, and that will conclude a 10-plate appearance inning for the Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers.
1 hit. 2 errors.
There were 4 runs scored on only 1 hit. There were a total of 2 errors, and there were the bases filled with 3 Sixers. And to finish out the 3rd inning of play, or rather the top half of the 3rd inning, the score stands 9-0 in favor of Cheyenne Post 6. So the Sixers scored 5 runs in the 2nd. For an encore, they send even more batters to the plate in the 3rd inning and have 4 more runs come in. And for Westco right now, 1-2 in this tournament, they really have a challenge on their hands if they want to come back in this ball game. And on the mound, there's Ethan Reisdorfer, and he is pitching extremely well, yet to give up a single hit to Westco in his first 2 innings of duty, and he's on the hill for inning number 3 coming up next.
It's still very important for Cheyenne, as we mentioned, to keep this game scoreless. They have a shutout streak. Realistically, if they carry that into the final game of pool play here, it would take like 10 Alliance runs to make theirs higher than the Hard Hats. Even if the Hard Hats have a shutout, it would take a lot of Alliance runs. They put up 18, but I'm not feeling 10. If they allow like 4 here, it could make 6, and that's a little more reasonable.
Great observation. Thank you, Oliver. Now we bring you the bottom of the 3rd inning. Let's get you some scores from college baseball. How about this score? The San Diego Toreros eliminate the Fresno State Bulldogs 7-5. My brother Dave, who owns the cookie company in Omaha, Nebraska, at the Westroads Mall, he is very happy. Toreros have won an NCAA tournament game. They will advance to Sunday's action against the loser of the winner's bracket game in the Santa Barbara Regional. And how about this upset? Alabama knocked out of the Tennessee Regional by Stetson. Stetson winning with a 4-0 shutout.
They have pitchers.
This afternoon.
They always have pitchers. Corey Kluber, Jacob deGrom, Logan Gilbert, all 3 pitchers from Stetson.
Stetson, a lot more than a Western Hat Company. Here's a pitch outside. Count now 2-2 to Aiden Vargas.
They are the Hatters.
Yeah, that's appropriate. Here comes a 2-2.
Same guy.
Pitch now from Reisdorfer. Working on a no-hitter. We're in the 3rd inning. It's 9-0, and that's strike 3. Reisdorfer carves up his 2nd K in this ball game. And now Thatcher comes to bat.
Now batting right field, number 8, Thatcher. Kamala.
Thatcher Thamala
Mm-hmm.
waits for the first pitch here in this plate appearance. And that pitch is over for a strike. Had some good baseball earlier today. A really fun game. A 4-3 victory was earned by the Rapid City Post 320 Shooters. 4-3 over Huron Post 7 from Huron, South Dakota. Very good game. Very entertaining. Both starters went the distance. You don't see that very often. Count is now 0-2 in the count to the number 8 hitter who wears number 8, Thatcher Thamala. And there's strike 3. Back-to-back Ks against the bottom of the order for the Westco Zephyrs.
24, Dawson Barrett.
Now sets up Dawson Barrett, and should be noted that the starting pitcher, Ethan Reisdorfer, he actually has a perfect game going. He's faced the minimum so far. There's a pitch over for a strike.
Liam was rooting for Stetson this entire time. Happy for him. Hope they keep moving.
Duke defeats Oral Roberts and eliminates Kelvin
No!
Torby's alma mater.
They made it
in
to the World
Norman
Series last year.
Regional. Yes, they did. Kelvin Torby, the skipper for the Post 22 Hard Hats, before his professional career was a All-American at Oral Roberts University in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
He's in their Hall of Fame.
And he's in the Hall of Fame at ORU.
He was in there in the 90s.
Proud
It's been a long time.
Summit League team. Here comes a 2-1 pitch to Dawson Barrett. And that pitch is over for a strike. Don't think we have seen a starter face the minimum the first time through an opposing team's lineup, Oliver.
Huron
Did that happen?
in the perfect or in the no hitter, right?
But no, there was somebody that reached base. It was
Oh,
a
that might be to
walking
us.
ball.
Come on, bounce.
And there is a
Aw.
foul ball into the stands. But no, actually somebody reached base in that first time through the order. I remember that. It's in my scorebook, I bet. Right here if you want to look it up.
Okay.
Dawson Barrett, 2-2 count currently at the moment. Want to give a shout out to our fellow broadcaster RJ, who is here.
Very close. Hit by pitch on the ninth
There you
man.
go. There you go. Actually, nope.
No, he faced the minimum.
Oh, he faced him, but
That's what you
somebody got
said.
on. Okay, I meant to say nobody has reached base the first time through. That would be a perfect game. Facing the minimum and no one reaching base is different for perfect game purposes. There's a bouncer to second, flip to first, and there you go. Ethan Reisdorfer, 9 up, 9 down, on the way, potentially to go for a perfect game here at Fitzgerald Stadium as he gets the ground out to the right side of the infield to finish the bottom of the third inning. There were no runs, no hits, no errors, no men left on base. And this is a developing story. Ethan Reisdorfer has a perfect game through 3 innings of play here in the Veterans Classic. This is the 3rd game for Cheyenne Post 6. They will play in the next game following this one. Oliver Fell will have the play-by-play of that ball game. How about Cheyenne Post 6? They are a legitimate American Legion national powerhouse. They have turned themselves under Ty Lane and his coaching staff, with the support of all those amazing people in the capital city of the Cowboy State, into a power at, interestingly enough, Powers Field. And what can you say? I mean, this Sixers team, you absolutely get so impressed. And the only thing that I thought was a little bit of a down mark on the Sixers a year ago was the defense they were playing. They've tightened it up.
They tightened it up maybe about a week or two before that state tournament, they were pretty clean. They had an issue in the first when they lost the first time, where they had 3 errors. Then for the rest of the thing, they had like 4 total over the remaining 6 games. They just kind of locked in.
We sure did. We now go to the top of the 4th inning. Sixers on top of the Zephyrs, 9-0.
Cheyenne 09, Cade Coates.
By the way, Westco, a great company. I used to manage KCOW and Double Q Country down in Alliance for a couple of years, 3 years actually, from '08 to 2011, and was always really impressed by everybody I worked with at Westco, and they did everything from aerial spraying to fertilizer sales. They're basically the farm co-op company of the Sandhills, and Westco is an outstanding Nebraska company. They are also, by the way, located in Wyoming in the Torrington area.
For the Cheyenners.
So there you go. 1-1 to count. Aiden Vargas out for his 2nd inning of duty. Facing Cade Coates, the leadoff hitter, the number 7 hitter in the Sixers lineup, as the Sixers bring the bottom of the order to the plate to start things off in the 4th inning. Here comes the 2-1 pitch to Cade Coates. And there's a bouncer to the plate. Count goes to 3-1. I want to give a shout out to Scottsbluff's baseball program. I was doing public address announcing last summer for I believe it was the 7th and 8th grade baseball regional tournament at McKeague Field, and that was won by the Scottsbluff Westco sponsored team who wore the same color scheme. And there's a walk issue to Cade Coates. And not only did Scottsbluff win that tournament, they beat a very good Moorhead, Minnesota team to take the trophy in nearby McKeague Field.
Was there anything after that?
What do
Like,
you
was
mean?
that a regional? Did they go to like a national? Or?
They did. They went to a national
I'll see
tournament.
how that played
and
out.
I don't know what happened there. Cade Coates now draws a walk, and here comes Anthony Pacheco. Pacheco grounds a ball foul. Looking beyond the bullpen, and the opponent, is that Alliance
Yep.
up there? Alliance, Peltz Construction, wearing all blue.
With some pinstripes.
Alliance Bulldog blue. There's a flare to right field, and it's caught for the first out of the inning. Making the catch in right field is Thatcher Thamala. Now here comes Colin Crecilius. Colin able to reach on a strikeout in the 2nd inning. Then he reached by way of a base on balls in the 3rd. Trying to get his first hit today against Aiden Vargas, and Vargas grounds the ball up to home plate. I have seen so many pitches in this tournament that have not reached home plate.
It's a
without
lot.
Bounce.
I swear that was like a rarity last year.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of bouncers.
A lot of wild ones.
Yes, we have.
Catchers having their hands full.
Pitch is popped up and playable for the first baseman for Westco. I think that was Jaden Mendez who made that play at first. And so Crecilius pops up to the first baseman. And now here comes Mason Tafoya. Tafoya on the day is 0 for 2 with 2 runs scored. And he is a fine ball player. That is a understatement. He's a great ball player. Here comes the pitch from Vargas to Tafoya. Here in the top of the 4th inning, and there's a off-speed pitch above the zone for ball 1. The pitchers for Westco have fallen behind numerous times in the count as they've gone up against this Sixers lineup. And if you're going to keep the Sixers off the scoreboard, you have to throw strike one. It just has to happen like that. Count is now 2-0 to Mason Tafoya, and that pitch is high for ball 3. Scottsbluff, the home of the Bearcats. It's a little community just adjacent to, attached to Scottsbluff, called Terrytown. There's a bouncer to the catcher, and that will be ball 4. And now runners are at first and second. Cade Coates moves from first to second, and of course there's Gehring. Gehring, a fine community. They made the trip here. They're in the other side of the player pool here at the Veterans Classic, playing in the Pete Lean Memorial Field side of the pairings. Here comes a pitch, and that is over for a strike for Mason Tafoya to Nolan Horton, the new hitter. Nolan Horton today, 0 for 1. Reached on a walk and reached on a error, a very unusual error, on a drop ball to the center fielder. And there's a wild pitch, and Tafoya moves on to second. Coates moves to third. So now 2 men are in scoring position in this 9-0 ball game. And Nolan Horton waits for the pitch from Vargas, and that pitch is high. And the count is now 2-1 to Nolan Horton. Nolan Horton, by the way, had a game-winning RBI hit to beat the Post 22 Hard Hats in the first game of a Sunday afternoon doubleheader in late April that I was broadcasting here on Hard Hats TV. Nolan Horton, a clutch hitter, batting second in the lineup, and that number 2 spot in the lineup, I always smile because my all-time favorite baseball player usually hits second, and that would be Tony Gwynn Sr. The late great Tony Gwynn was often the number 2 hitter in the Padres lineup. And there's ball 4, and Horton draws a walk. And now the bases are filled with post Sixers for Corey Williams. Corey Williams, a left-handed hitter. He is a phenomenal athlete. He's one heck of a pitcher as well. Here comes a pitch to Williams, and that pitch is fouled towards the Westco Scottsbluff dugout. And quickly, Corey Williams is down in the count 0-1. We have 2 outs. The bases are loaded. Cheyenne Post 6 has not scored yet here in the 4th inning. They lead 9-0, and there is a ball hit and caught by the shortstop who played Corey Williams perfectly. Making the play was Moy Pandero, and that will end the 4th inning with the bases filled with Sixers with no runs coming across. So Aiden Vargas, who threw a lot of pitches, had some tension, some built-in suspense, but escapes, putting up the first 0 on the scoreboard since the 1st inning. And Cheyenne Post 6 still leads 9-0 in the bottom of the top of the 6th inning for the Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers. There were no runs. There were no hits. There were no errors. And there were 3 men left on base. We go to the bottom of the 4th, and back on the mound is Ethan Reisdorfer, who is going for a perfect game. He has put up 9 consecutive outs to start this ball game. He has struck out 3 Westco hitters along the way. I don't know if there's ever been a perfect game at the Veterans Classic, however.
Well, it's only been going for 5 years. You'd have to think not.
Can Ethan Reisdorfer fire a perfecto
He only
on a
has
Saturday night here in Rapid City?
he only has to do 2 more innings. It would be 5 innings, which seems reasonable.
Here we go. Oscar Felix, the leadoff hitter. He flew out to the shortstop his first time up. There's a pitch for a strike. And Reisdorfer, he has been throwing strikes at a very impressive clip. I think he's thrown at least 75% of his pitches for strikes. There's a grounder. Handled by the shortstop. Throw to first. In time! 10 up and 10 down for Ethan Reisdorfer. The perfect game is still going for the Cheyenne Post 6 ace. Now Michael Villagara, the hitter. I believe it's Villagara, but the public address announcer said Villagara. Here comes the pitch to Villagara, and that pitch is just off the plate for a ball. Mike Fell with you, along with Oliver Fell. Happy to be with you here at the Veterans Classic on a Saturday night. We've got a slight breeze blowing from right field to left field. The wind is out of the south tonight.
It's been a pretty ideal temperature.
Are in the low 70s or high 60s.
Yeah, pretty great. It got chilly last night. I can see that happening again by the time it gets around to the hard hats.
I think you're right about that. Count is now 3-0, and this could be the end of the perfect game. Phil Guerra ahead in the count 3-0. Here's a pitch, and it's over for a strike. Not so fast, says Reisdorfer. Here comes the 3-1 pitch now to Michael Villagara, and that pitch is popped up. Is it playable?
Is that going to hit us?
Nope.
Donk?
It's going to land on the roof of the press box, and the count is now full. Here we go. Here comes the 3-2 payoff pitch. The perfect game is on the line here in the bottom of the fourth. Reisdorfer has the ball slapped to short. It's scooped. Throw to first in time. And that's 11 up and 11 down for Ethan Reisdorfer. And there are 2 men out here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Moy Panduro.
Ooh, tough out.
Coming up to bat as the number 3 man in the lineup for Westco. Here comes the pitch to the shortstop for the Zephyrs, and that ball is hit again to the shortstop, handled smoothly, throw to first in time, and that is a perfect game. That's it. The game is over as the game is called after 4 innings and a 9-0 score, and you just witnessed history as Ethan Reisdorfer throws a perfect game. The shortstop for Mason Tafoya recorded all 3 outs, and we are finished in 4 innings, and that is a historic moment in the 5-year history of the Veterans Classic. You just witnessed perfection. Ethan Reisdorfer throws a perfect game, and listen to this standing ovation from these fans as the Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers win 9-0. They are in outstanding position going into their game against Alliance if they get a win, to win that all-important non-head-to-head tiebreaker should they tie with the Post 22 Hard Hats, which would be runs per inning. And in that last game, there were 12 men that came to the plate for Westco from Scottsbluff, Nebraska, and they were all retired in order 1, 2, 3 for 4 consecutive frames. Congratulations to Cheyenne Post 6. They are winners tonight. They are now 28-3. They will stay right here and get ready to take on the pride of Box Butte County, along with the Hemingford Bobcats in the Nebraska Panhandle, the Alliance Peltz Construction team. And here we go. Congratulations history made as Cheyenne Post 6 will switch dugouts. Ethan Reisdorfer throws a perfect game. Congratulations to Ty Lane and his outstanding 28-3 Sixers team. They raised their Veterans Classic mark to 3-0, and they are a win away, it appears, from punching a ticket back to the championship game of this tournament. Oliver Fell will have the play-by-play for the game coming your way next. Our final score, a perfect game in 4 innings, fired by Ethan Reisdorfer. The Cheyenne Post 6 Sixers 9. The Westco Zephyrs from Scottsbluff, Nebraska, nothing. Reisdorfer, perfect tonight here in Rapid City. Good night. This is Westco versus Cheyenne Post 6 baseball, day 3 of the Veterans Classic. Thanks for watching. Congratulations to Ethan Reisdorfer on a perfect game. Good night from Rapid City, South Dakota.
There we go. Good job.